Bangami.
Edfu Hideki.
Hideki.
Good morning. Today's lesson is going to be a cornucopia of information. That is, it is going to be a hodgepodge of different lessons that we have had combined. But all of them have the same message, and that is representing one's God and representing one's race is better than representing anything else.
Kubelha.
With that in mind, I go to the book. God is the greatest of all.
Hamdu.
God is good. God is great. Thanks to our Rasul. As-salamu wa ta'ahu. Without him, we would not have this message. The information that we are expounding to you is information that was left to us to expound to our sons and daughters of God.
Hamdu.
Without him, there would be nothing. Therefore, we should lift him up. Lift him up. He is God, incarnated in flesh. He is God. God and man is one and the same thing.
Hamdu.
Cornucopia. We will start out with the Son of Man, Part 2. Subject, cult, C-U-L-T, and culture. Under the word cult, everyone is convinced of the reality of a better self and of the homage which is due to it. For homage is the foundation of culture and civilization, which is the homage due to it today as our foundation of culture and civilization brought up to date and improved upon. The mingled people and the mixed multitude make up the congregation of the saints, all colors and all kinds of the best. Therefore, the greatest civilization that existed was the ancient Hamites, your noble ancestors. And that civilization was built by the hands of the blacks, the whites, the browns, the yellows. And a mixed multitude went up with Moses when he changed gods in the land of Ham. For he changed from I am to Jehovah. For I am was the God who kept Hebrews in bondage. Here we see that every people that rose to greatness first changed gods and had the help of the whites, the browns, the yellows, along with their own efforts for survival.
Hamdu.
So our quarrel are not with the whites, but with ourselves. We will never be a kind of people that we are supposed to be until we accept what our late President Warren G. Harding said back in the 20s. And that is, I will inculcate, that is, impress by repetition and teach persistently. That a black man cannot be a white man. The black man should not strive to be a white man, but should strive to be the best black man possible. I would like to see the black man with a culture, that is, a civilization of a given race or nation at a given time. A set of ideals, which is what a people would wish to be, and a civilization which is self-respect and respect of others, which is the first advanced stages in social development of his own peculiar, singular to himself.
Kubaha.
Warren G. Harding. Fahamis must be kind and friends to Muslims, Jews, Christians, Hindus, and everybody, all who show friendship to you, which will be in accord with the reality of a better self, which is the homage due to our God and goddesses, Jaisis, sons and daughters of God, chapter 3. The soul of a race, the soul of man, is his conscience. The soul of the race is also conscience. This race conscience is lost to us, and we must find it. The realization of self as a race is really its nature, character, all of one kind, in our conscious and of the same quality, color, material, self-conscious as a race, and self-control and self-respect as a race. Because every race, nation, religion, and creed is for itself their national rights. Every nation has a name for God and calls upon God by his different names, and he hears their prayers and delivers them. The Greeks' prayers are answered in their language, the Romans in the Italian language, the Jews in Hebrew, and he will answer ours when we pray in the language of our noble ancestors.
Indeed.
The language of the gods called Ethiopic, Arabic, Hebrew, Egyptian, and other. And every nation has its own prince or master angel or God declared to Daniel in Chaldea. And your prince and master angel is Raphael, because you are the children of the sun. God is man, and man is God. The first chapter of the Farley Gospel makes mention of this. And I pose the question to you: how can you envision a God first without seeing a physical something to show an arch pattern for him? Therefore, it is possibly, or is reasonably, to think that we see man as God, because man is a imitation of the spiritual God. Everything that man has in him, we say it is also in God itself. Therefore, we go along with the statement of the Rasul, peace be upon him. Man is God, and God is man. In the name of Lelachirah, the highest truth, our understanding, Rasul, the first Amun-Ra, who was again made known again in the image of man, the first prophet and interpreter of dreams and visions, taught mankind, as we are today, that the idea of God was born among our ancestors.
Amen.
Then God is the embodying form of a person, which is a real likeness or representation of the forces throughout the universe at work. And God is also an embodiment of the essential nature or character of the quality which exists in the individual, animal, or person, and make it symbolic of conception. The idea, Revelation 14, unto us at the church of the Laodiceans writes these things, saith the Amen, the true and faithful witness to the what? Creation of God. The idea of God was first introduced by your ancestors. The idea of God being born among our ancestors. Behold, this new created world. Out of Ham comes all religions and conceptions of God unto all mankind. From this sprung gods and goddesses. Is it not written that I say ye are gods? From this sprung gods and goddesses among all the nations around the torrid zone that belts the earth, which was an addition to their empire, how it showed, as it is showing us as of now. The birth of God among your ancestors was an arch pattern, an ideal, which today is existing as an archetype idea. Out of Ham comes all religions, ideas, conceptions of a God. Christ is Ra, and Ra is the surname of Amen. Blessed be the name of Amen-Ra, manifested in the image of our Rasul, Selah. Therefore, the soul of a race is its clear understanding and its full awareness, and its perception lies the power of perceiving and giving birth to things with the mind from the cosmos of the universe, an orderly or harmonious body of methods from the brain of creation. Through the senses, by taking in things of value with the mind, and observing or noticing all activities of other nations and races around us, this is finding the soul of the race. This is what we are proposing to the nations. The brother has indicated that these lectures that we're giving, not only are we hearing lessons, other people are hearing the other lessons also. So we're reaching out to them to listen, hear what we have to say. And observing or noticing all activities of other nations and races around us. This is finding the soul of a race. Without race awareness, it is lost. And we will never find the soul until its awareness is perceived through the realization of its being a race as a reality. Because seeing is taking a thing into consideration, while to seek is to inquire, and followed by an infinitive. To, too, is the sign of the infinitive. It is the unrestricted and unlimited. The realization of a race having a soul is our obligation to make this statement real or concrete and cause Rasul, as-salamu wa salahu, statement to appear real. The word realization of self is serving the Afro-Americans as a quality of being real and not theoretical or imaginary, but being according to their appearance. The readjustment of the race is now in order. We wonder what is going on with the world. The world needs to be readjusted. It needs a new interpretation to all things. The Rasul said, we make old things new with a new interpretation. Praise be the Rasul. As-salamu alaykum. This calls for reasoning with all who will act for or reason is alleged as the ground of determination adapted to influence the mind in acting upon that principle. Reason is the rational nature of man or the human race. This distinguishes him from the intelligence of a brute, which is an animal without power to reason. A person without reason is a stupid, cruel, coarse, or sensual person. Race consciousness is the brute force of nature. In English, and brutus, meaning heavy or dull in French. A race is the continuation of descent from a common parent or stock. These things are not being taught in the schools today. These things were mentioned years ago, but they stopped teaching them, and as a result, our people are lost. They're like sheep, wandering around, ready to be slaughtered. A race, I will say it again, is the continuation of descent from a common parent or stock, which is the condition of belonging to a certain stock or the quality or characteristics of that stock. Race unconsciousness is a group of race, or nations who has no soul. A common parent or persons belonging equally to two or more qualities, which is a large number of relations of characters, good or bad. Self-conscious or self-consciousness or self-soul is a race who is made conscious of other people of the same race and their attitude towards one and another. The soul of the black race is not a violent one. You understand what I said? Yeah. We are being projected as being someone who is violent. That's what we are being told. We are most violent people. We are ones to be hated. But our nature is not a violent one. No. The soul of the black race is not a violent one and is not characterized by intensity of any kind. But the whites are a violent race. Yet there are good ones among them. They are characterized, are marked by unjust exercise of force, severe, while the black people are characterized by mildness in speech and manner, full of goodness and mercy, speaking words of wisdom and understanding. All they need is to be left alone. And he will find the soul of his race naturally. Being the first of creation, he has the inborn qualities that he has been duped. The black race is the original and became the head of all mankind. This is what these people cannot get away from. They cannot get away from the fact that you are making this reference. You are the fathers of all mankind. They can say what they want to say, but can they get away from that idea? Yeah. Looking back to the soul of the race, we will be seeing Isis, El, and Amen, and their kinsman Ra, made known in the picture or likeness of man. The Honorable Paul Nathaniel Johnson, Assalamu Wassalatu, has all of them rolled into one as the soul of the race. Yeah. Salam. As I said, it's the hodgepodge. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. For homies must be kind and friends to Muslims, Jews, Christians, Hindus, and everybody, all who show kindness or friendship to you. Where did this idea come from? Where did this Negro come from? We say the African everywhere will have to revamp, that is, repair their pre-slavery status, our legal position, before they can again produce another pyramid builder, pyramid designer, and builder like Khufu of Jaizi, the world's first master mason, or another Hiram of Tyre, who built Solomon Temple, or an inventor like Futa or Pita, who invented the world's first water gauge, or another son of God like Osiri, Atham, or Adam, Ham and his son Cush, and Mizraim, and Tubal, Jubal, and Jubal-Cain, and virgins and goddesses like Balakisma Gita, queen of Sheba, Andromeda, queen of beauty, Isis, mother of the gods. Negroism began with Simon of Cyrene of North Africa and ended with Abraham Lincoln. Negroism ended in Haiti with Toussaint L'Ouverture. The great Gautama Buddha was a product of the sons of Ham.
Amen.
Our pre-Negro status was an honorable one. What the world needs today, Mr. Negro, what the world needs today is a religion of all people, and not merely a Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, or Christian religion, but a religion that honors equally Jesus, Muhammad, peace be upon him, Raha, Krishna, Buddha, Joseph Smith, and all other saviors or prophets of God, regardless of race, creed, color, or country. The Jews look upon Moses as a true prophet. So do other people regard their prophets. So say not false prophets of any one of them, for God knows what you do not. This is another way to the brotherhood of man. That may be a republic, a democracy, a socialism, or whatever they choose to call it. I am convinced that the colored people will have to return to their pre-Negro or pre-Christian status, not to stay there, but to get a fresh and a right start, because the rest of the world are not going to let him build on their usurped premises, nor let him attach his room to their houses. And that's the truth. He will have to get a few ideas from his ancestors, from the old-time ancient religions, and make them new and modern and up-to-date, for nearly all of his outstanding achievements are dated before Christ, parenthesis, no such thing as BC. The sun has always been there. The sun has always been there, so that is a misnomer. BC, no such thing. This term being an error for Christ, or the Son of God, has always existed. Ra is the original Christ. Isis, the original virgins. What can the modern black show that ever compare with this ancient civilization? Masonry began and ended with the pyramid, the only building erected by the hands of man that time and the elements have failed to destroy. Since Akhenaten, he has not produced a prophet that even compares with Balaam the Canaanite. And there are good and bad among all the peoples in the world. All people are not alike, nor are all of one race or nation alike. There are even saints among the Bantu, the Swahili, the Malagasy, the Zimbari, the Zimbabwe, and all other tribes or nations, wherever they may be. Among the Holy Land and rivers, the Nile, the Zambezi, the Congo, the Ganges, the Amazon, the Mississippi, and some others, then there is the Jordan, which has been worshipped out of proportion to its importance. Why weep to cross over Jordan? What is wrong with the Amazon or the Mississippi? One mountain is just as holy as another, and Cyprus Atok was himself a saint, and blessed be the name of Amun-Ra. The black man has not always been a Negro, nor has he been a nigger. Wholesale slavery and foreign culture has made him a Negro, and by exclamation, a nigger also. The black man has always been with us, but not the Negro. I see no harm in any race, white or black, striving to keep their own identity and culture by anti-miscegenation, if they so desire. For men and women of one race who lust after men and women of another race, this so-called love stems directly from prejudiced religious teaching. For the Lord thy God, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God, lest thou take of their daughters unto the sons, and their daughters go a-lusting after their own gods. And this would make thy sons go a-lusting after their gods. Genesis 34th chapter, verse 14th verse, 16th verse. For people and their God are the same. The Negro has not yet been accepted as a Christian, but as a proselyte or convert. Akhenaten founded the cult of Ra and started baptism in the water of the Nile. When we once unite ourselves into one body with religion, language, history, and a name for God, that will give us freedom of mind, a freedom of soul, and the freedom of body. Then we will be in a position to go forward as our noble ancestors were doing when the sons of God met the daughters of men. Our noontime and adopted creeds have failed to unite us because we are still living in heated thoughts with hatred and jealousy among ourselves. No nation owes us anything. Whatever is owed, we owe it to ourselves. Let us stop being a burden to ourselves as well as a burden to the shoulders, on the shoulders of other nations. For our greatest argument in this world we are living in is with ourselves, because we must shoulder our own burden at the expense of the rich and millionaires of our race, and quit crying on the shoulders of our white neighbors. Because we were created of God, just like everybody else. Let us hold our heads up like other men, regardless of race, creed, color, or country. For we too have been blessed of God, because history bears this fact as an altar and a pillar that is at the border we're talking about that pyramid. That pyramid has remained steadfast after all of these years, and the elements have yet to destroy it. Abraham Lincoln was as much a saint or a son of God as any mentioned in the Holy Quran or the Holy Bible, for he too saved his people from their sins. Just like Frederick Douglass, a saint and a modern Moses, who agitated the freedom of slaves, and John Brown, a European American who advocated our liberation. Our 246 years of slavery in America was that which we sowed in Africa, we reaped in America. The Honorable Paul Nathaniel Johnson, Assalamu Wasalahu, the culture prophet to the African American as well as those in Africa, left for us a book from God to his people, just as Moses left the Torah to the Jews, and Muhammad, peace be upon him, left the Quran to the Arabs, Jesus and the Injil, and that was put in the hands of the Afghans in India.
I'm due.
I said, I'm you. What's wrong? Sila.